It's great to be a nice person. It's awesome to think about other people and how we may impact them with how we live our lives. When that becomes the driver of the bus of your life, you lose the capability to direct what happens, which will then impact how you feel in your relationships or about what's happening in your life because you're no longer in the driver's seat. Hello and welcome back to another video here with me. If you are new around here, I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Chelsea. I'm a certified life coach, therapist, speaker, and I support people in exploring and understanding their mental and emotional well-being from a very holistic perspective. I am so passionate about this work because the truth is that we all have emotional wellness and mental health, and it's time that we start talking about it and learning the tools and techniques that we can be more intentionally applying so that our life feels better. Essentially, small feet, yeah? Today, I'm so excited to share with you all and talk about a juicy topic, which is, you know that it's time to leave a relationship, but it's hard and scary, and you don't want to hurt anybody, and you also don't know if there's anything better out there for you. So, I could just hang, right? This is something that I talk with my clients all the time about that tends to really be just such a complex situation sometimes, right? And I want, as we're talking about this, to be thinking about it. When I say relationship, it could be a romantic partnership, it might be a friendship, it might be family, right? And especially as you start to individuate or become more adult or more yourself, right? It can be hard to set new boundaries or see that person in a different way than maybe you had at other times throughout your life. And it can feel very, very tricky to figure some of this stuff out and to give yourself the space and sometimes the permission to honor what you know to be true about how you feel about this relationship or how you feel when you're with this person and adjust accordingly, right? And a lot of this can feel challenging because as humans, we like things to be all or nothing. We feel more comfortable when things are easily defined. And yet, in our relationships and as human beings, most of the time, many things are way more complex than that. We might be experiencing multiple emotions or multiple thoughts at the same time related to the same thing. And so it can feel really confusing because there's not always one clear direction or one clear answer about what we should do or what the right thing or the best thing is going to be. And so we can stagnate at that point, or we can stay in relationships, friendships, what have you, that actually are really, really hurtful for us over time or really detrimental to our growth or our well-being. Because, well, maybe it's not great, but it's not terrible. Or maybe this person you really love and care about, yeah, they have some behaviors that are extremely hurtful for you, but you don't want to hurt them, right? And who are you to walk away from something or to end a relationship or to adjust how you engage with a specific person because you just need to, right? Is that really a good enough reason? It's hard. Yeah. It's very complex at times. A lot of mixed emotions. And so since we have this tendency to really, really like to categorize things in these kind of polar opposite buckets per se, or we really like to feel like we have an understanding that something is absolutely 100% correct in order to move forward with it, or that everybody else in our life is absolutely going to agree with us, then we can have permission to do what we need to do. But if we don't have that 100% certainty, either that it's the right thing or that everybody else is going to agree and approve of our decision, or that nobody else is going to get hurt, it can feel really hard to honor what you need. And that can deeply impact how capable you feel or confident you feel in being able to leave a relationship when you know that it's no longer working or no longer serving for you. Another thing is that we can get so attached to how things once were that we're not allowing ourselves the space to change, to evolve, to be where we are in any given relationship, right? So this I see happen all the time in both romantic relationships and friendships, right? Most likely there was a period of that relationship where things were really going well. And maybe you had this vision of you and your partner and what it was going to look like 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line. People in your life and around you seem to really like this person. And now all of a sudden, you don't feel super supported by them, or you find that you are fighting all the time. And there doesn't seem to be any communication or any ways of communicating that make it feel a bit better. And you're starting to question whether you're really on the same page and whether that vision could really become a reality. But because you've already had that idea, and because the people in your life have already approved of this person, like, you have to just stay with them and make it work, right? Same thing with friendships. We can get so attached to how things once were that we don't allow our friendships or our relationships to evolve and change and grow as we do. So you may find that there's a season of life where this person like was in your very, very, very tight inner circle. And now all of a sudden, when you're with them, you don't feel like they ask you anything about you or about your life, and you spend the whole time just talking about them. Or they put you down a lot when it comes to decisions that you're making or dreams that you have for your life or whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel so good. But you feel like you have to continue to be with them in the same way because, well, they've been your best friend for X amount of time. The truth is that as we go through life, we're all growing, we're all evolving, we're getting new information, we're having more experiences throughout our life, we're learning more about who we are and what we want. And so if we're all doing that as individuals, it's understandable that the way that we relate to each other and the relationships that we have with each other might also change and grow and evolve. But that's not usually the story that we are taught or that we hear. Right? We're very much so taught to protect other people's emotions over our own, or to never, ever, ever do anything that might hurt somebody else, because that makes you a bad person. In order to be good and worthy, we have to always be putting everybody else before ourselves. And while let's make space for that, it's great to be a nice person. It's awesome to think about other people and how we may impact them with how we live our lives. When that becomes the driver of the bus of your life, you lose the capability to direct what happens, which will then impact how you feel in your relationships or about what's happening in your life, because you're no longer in the driver's seat. And so if we could start to normalize the experience of emotions changing, of people changing, of things changing, and our growth and our evolution means that something may serve us in a season of life, and then it might look different in the next season of life. Or once we have more experiences with somebody, again, whatever kind of somebody this is to you, it's okay to use that information to inform and honor how you are feeling about that person or the relationship and the way that they fit into your life. And then what we can do is start to learn better ways of communicating, right? Because that's another thing, is sometimes we learn these truths and we might be like, oh, I know that being with this person doesn't feel good, or it doesn't work for me anymore, or it's not how I want to be spending my time, or I don't see a future in this relationship, but I really don't want to hurt them, and I don't know how to say that, and I don't know how they would respond if I told them how I'm really feeling. So I'm just going to push that down. And then it comes back up, and then it comes back up, and then it comes back up. And then we usually have a bigger kind of eruption sometimes of emotion, or then we can start to engage in more passive aggressive behaviors because we haven't learned how to communicate effectively and how to have uncomfortable conversations sometimes, or to communicate those boundaries, right? So we have to learn, how can I communicate this clearly and do so from a place of compassion or grace, or really clearly set this boundary, right? And then this is the sticking point, right? Detach from the outcome. We so badly want to control how other people respond or are going to react to what we might have to share. And we can't do that. We can't control other people and their emotions and their feelings and how they perceive the world and what they want for a relationship. All we can control is ourselves, right? Are you honoring you? Are you doing your best to communicate with love and compassion and honesty, right? And if so, that's beautiful. That's amazing. It's okay to have situations that feel really hard and to still move towards them anyway, to have that hard conversation, to get more comfortable with the discomfort of that reality so that you feel more free to continue to live your life and be around people that really light you up and that are going to be your supports and that are going to serve you no matter what you're going through, in the same ways that you're also going to serve them, right? If we all gave each other more permission, more space to do that, can you imagine what might be possible? The kinds of circles we might find ourselves in, the kinds of grace we might be able to show somebody when they're going through something that we don't understand or that we don't necessarily agree with, or somebody else's, where they're at in their life and how they feel about the relationship that they have with you hurts you, right? But then we can say, they must be really doing that for them. And I'm going to miss them, or I'm going to miss how things have been. But can I do my own work around that? What does that mean for me, right? And so if we can, it goes both ways. If we can do that with other people, then we can give ourselves permission to do the same when it comes up to who we are. And it's a practice. And it's one that is tremendously valuable. I promise you that. So if you know that it's time to leave a relationship, a friendship, individuate from your family relationships, how can you honor that and extend compassion and grace for yourself, especially when it feels really hard and really sticky and really messy, but give yourself the space to still stand by what you know is true for you and what you're needing in any given relationship, and normalize that relationships change over time because we're all changing over time. So it's okay that who your best friend was 7 years ago may not be your best friend right now or part of your life right now, or a really beautiful, loving relationship that you had or have had for the past X amount of time might look very different right now, and it's not feeling so hot, and it's time to do something about it. These are experiences that we all have. And it doesn't mean anything about who you are as a person. You are not flawed. You're not broken. There's nothing to be fixed, right? the more space, grace, permission, compassion we can have for ourselves and for each other, the better off we're going to be able to navigate this sticky stuff called life and be and support and honor who we all are so that we can thrive together a bit better. Look at that, ending with a rhyme today. All right, so those are some of my thoughts around what you might think about or what you can do or remind yourself of when you know it's time to leave a relationship, but it's hard. All right, if you like this video, subscribe below. And if you want to connect further, hop on over to Instagram. You can find me at Chelsea Connors with an underscore at the end. I would love, love, love to hear your thoughts and your feedback on this video. And if there's anybody in your life who you know is stuck in a relationship that is no longer serving them, send this to them in a loving and compassionate way to show that you see them. All right, talk soon.